In Math Workbook 310, I am on page 37. Today you will complete quiz 2, and we will also look at analogies here in the Just for Fun activity. Analogies are ways of comparing two sets of information that have something in common. For example, if you are very short and your friend is very tall, we might say that together you two are like David and Goliath. Do you know who David and Goliath are? Remember the story in the Bible when David went to fight the giants and he fought a giant named Goliath? So David was short and Goliath was a giant, so he was tall. So we're comparing two different people. One is short, like you, and one is tall, like your friend. So we would write it like this. You and your friend are like David and Goliath. And we use colons when we're writing analogy. These two dots together, one on top of the other, are called colons. This is how you would say it. You are to your friend as David is to Goliath. Here is another analogy. Ice is to cold as steam is to hot. So this is how we say it, and they wrote it out for us, but this is how we can write it. We can use the colons. Let's see if we can figure out these. For numbers 1 through 8, they give us 3 pieces to an analogy. It's our job to figure out the 4th piece. If you know the first 3 pieces of an analogy, you can usually figure out the 4th. So what we're going to have to do is figure out what the first 2 pieces have in common, and that should help us figure out the last piece. So if I'm looking at number 1, leaf is to tree as feather is to what? Well, I know that leaves are on trees, right? Is there anything that feathers are on? What can you think of? I'm thinking of birds. So let's see if this makes sense. Leaf is to tree as feather is to bird. I think that makes good sense. Number 2, let's try it. Shoe is to foot as glove is to what? What do shoe and foot have in common? What can you think of? Well, a shoe goes on a foot, right? Is there something that a glove goes on? Your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and write it, and then let's see if it makes sense. Shoe is to foot as glove is to hand. That makes perfect sense. Good job, you guys. This is a little bit simpler than you thought, isn't it? What about this one? Ooh, these have numbers in it. That might make it a little bit trickier. 10 is to 30 as 100 is to what? What do you think? This one's tricky. Well, okay, let's see. This one, 10, 30, 100. I notice that these two numbers, the first 2 numbers are double digits, and then it goes to a triple digit number. There's 3 numbers. Since maybe this is one right here is 10, this is 30, and then it goes up. This is 100. Maybe this one is 300. All we did was add a 0 to each of these numbers. 10 is to 30 as 100 is to 300. Do you think that makes sense? I think so too. 81 is to 18 as 24 is to what? What do these first 2 numbers have in common? What do you notice about them? The numbers just flipped. So we have 8, 1, and then 1, 8. They flipped around. So what do we need to do here with the 24? We need to change it to a 42, or write 42 in the blank. 81 is to 18 as 24 is to 42. Let's go to the next one. 3 plus 2 is to 5 as 6 plus 2 is to what? What do you think? Well, I know 3 plus 2 equals 5. So it's almost like this colon here acted as an equal sign. So let's go ahead and add these together. What's 6 plus 2? 8. Orange is to sphere as tent is to... What do these two have in common? Well, an orange is in the shape of a sphere. What is the tent in the shape of? A pyramid. Boy is to girl as man is to... What do you think? Well, a boy is just a young man, and so what is the older version of a girl? A woman. Add is to subtract as multiply is to... Well, we've learned that addition and subtraction are opposites. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So add is to subtract as multiply is to divide. Good job, you guys. You completed some analogies.